Commonwealth, you can call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michael Bonasoro, please.
You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause now and hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
You may have a seat. Just pull yourself up to that mic. Thank you.
May I?
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
In a nice loud voice, if you could please state your name and spell your first and last name for the record.
Sure. My name is Detective Lieutenant Michael Bonasoro. Last is spelled Bonasoro.
How are you employed?
I work for the Mass State Police.
And what is your current assignment?
I work for the Firearms Identification Section.
How long have you worked for the Massachusetts State Police generally?
Almost 20 years.
If you could give us a brief recitation of your assignments within the State Police?
All assignments are what I'm doing now.
Start from when you graduated from the academy, briefly.
All right. So I graduated the academy in 2006. From there, was on the road for a few years, transferred into the Firearms Identification Section, stayed there for approximately 12 years, transferred out of there, went to the Narcotics Inspection Unit for a year and a half, went to the duty office for a few months, back to the Narcotics Inspection Unit, and then to Firearms Identification Section again to work as the Executive Officer and now the Unit Commander.
And so how long has your current assignment with the Firearms Identification Unit been?
Since I've been back, a little over 3 years.
What does the Firearms Identification Unit do?
So we have many responsibilities. So we respond to crime scenes, preserve the evidence, document the scene. We do microscopic comparisons of fired bullets as well as discharged casings. We attend autopsies, we destroy weapons, and we do functionality of weapon certifications.
How many troopers are assigned to your unit statewide?
There's a total of 18 of us assigned statewide.
And what are your responsibilities as the detective lieutenant in charge?
So I look at training, make sure we're up to accreditation standards for lab protocols, making sure all of our protocols are in line with the current definitions of Mass General laws. I look at different aspects of how we respond to scenes, how we collect evidence, how we interpret evidence, looking at the definitions of firearms, ammunition, semi-automatic pistols, rifles, shotguns, assault weapons, different stuff like that. It's more of a managerial role. We're looking at making sure everybody has the training and authorizing them to do the casework when they have achieved all their training.
And fair to say that you still, from time to time, respond to scenes yourself?
Yes, so as of right now, we're down a few supervisors, so I took on the role of going to these more high-profile scenes to observe my other battle stations, collect evidence, as well as do some of the hands-on work myself.
Can you briefly summarize some of the specialized training you've received over the years with respect to firearms?
Sure. So when you go into the firearms identification, it's a 2-year apprenticeship program. You work with other senior battle stations. You're looking at casework, seeing how to do the casework, making sure it aligns with the protocols that we have documented. You're doing test fires of weapons, numerous weapons, analyzing ammunition, magazines. You go into armorers courses. You go into different conferences to look at the field of tool marks and seeing how these tools are making these markings and how they're transferring over to these discharge casings and projectiles. So it's an ongoing process of different trainings. It's training from other examiners, see what they've discovered in the field, and making sure you're up to date with all the standards.
And the armorers courses that you've gone to, have you gone to numerous with respect to the common gun manufacturers in the United States?
Yes, I've gone to several rifle, shotgun, firearm armorers courses.
Can you estimate how many weapons you've examined over the course of your career?
Hundreds.
And how many weapons have you test fired?
Over hundreds of them as well.
And do you also have the opportunity to examine ammunition as part of your work in the Firearms Identification Unit?
Yes, looking at the components of ammunition, yes.
Okay. And one of the components of ammunition is projectiles,
Correct.
and you've examined estimate how many projectiles over the course of your career?
Thousands,
And how many scenes have you responded to?
hundreds of scenes.
And have those been both fatal and non-fatal shooting scenes?
Yes.
Have you conducted and participated in the microscopic examination of ballistic evidence?
Yes, several.
Approximately how many times?
I would say over 100 cases.
And have you had the opportunity to testify in the courts of the Commonwealth?
Yes, several courts.
And if you could name a few of those courts.
Middlesex Superior District, Suffolk Superior District, Worcester Superior District.
And today you're in Essex.
Yes.
Okay. Before I ask you specific questions about the case, I just want to ask you some general questions about how firearms work and how ammunition works. Can you explain the components of a live round?
So you have several components. So you have the casing that encompasses everything. You have the powder that's inside of it, and then you have the projectile, and you also have the primer. So you need all these components to make ammunition. So all these components combined will make one combustible material. You'll have what's called a firing pin. It'll strike the primer. Primer will ignite the powder inside of the casing, which holds everything together. Once the gases build up from the burning of the powder, the projectile will leave that casing.
So the projectile is what's commonly known as a bullet,
Yes.
and the casing is what is often recovered at crime scenes?
It's also referred to as a discharge cartridge casing, so it's been extracted from that firearm.
Is there a way for you to determine whether a round has been discharged from a working firearm?
There is. So you're looking at the tool marks of what's left over on that discharge casing or that projectile. So originally you look at the class characteristics. Does it have the same design features as that firearm? Is in regards to a projectile, is the twist going to the left or the right based on that design feature of that firearm? If it twists to the left, it would sometimes be 6, 5, 4 right twist. So you look at these characteristics, make sure they're in line, and then move forward into what's called individual markings. As firearms are produced, they're produced by tools. As tools are making these firearms, the tools are wearing away. You also have little pieces of metal that get in front of the tools, which will create unique marks. There isn't one firearm that is the same due to the fact that you'll have material that's in front of these cutting edges.
And is it fair to say that when a cartridge is new or from the box, it does not have these particular tool marks you're looking for?
It shouldn't have any of the tool marks. It may have some type of markings, what's called bunter marks on a discharge casing. This is from stamping that live cartridge to indicate what caliber and manufacturer of that live cartridge.
Did you say what marks?
A bunter mark? A bunter mark?
Can you spell that for the court?
It's B-U-N-T-E-R.
And that's the stamp that reflects the caliber of ammunition?
The caliber as well as the manufacturer.
Thank you.
When a casing comes apart from a projectile, does it come out with velocity?
It does.
And are you able to determine anything about where a particular gun was fired based on where a casing or casings are recovered?
You can't really determine the exact location. It should land in the general vicinity of the shooter, but you also have variables if that casing was kicked or manipulated in some way, or if it deflected off another object.
And I think we just talked about this, but what does caliber refer to?
Caliber is the diameter or length of that casing.
I'd like to talk about a semi-automatic firearm. Are you familiar with those?
Yes.
And how does a semi-automatic firearm work?
So it requires a trigger pull per firing of that weapon. So you pull the trigger, it will cause either a hammer or a firing pin to move forward. It will strike the primer. After it strikes the primer, it will cause an explosion. Explosion is going to cause that slide to go backwards. The extractor is going to extract that casing, which is attached to that slide. It's going to hit what's called an ejector. The ejector is going to extract that discharge casing out of the ejection port, and it's going to continue the cycle. This slide is going to move forward now because it's under spring tension. It's going to pick up that other live cartridge that's in the magazine well and load the next live cartridge.
But does the user have to do something first before they are able to pull the trigger and have a projectile fire.
So they would have to load either manually or with a magazine. So a live cartridge has to be inserted into the chamber.
And does the slide, or does the slide have to be pulled back?
The slide has to be racked to the rear, yes.
Okay. And so the slide has to be racked to the rear just one time before the shots are fired?
Yeah, so you have to essentially cock the firearm. So you have to put some external force on that firing pin or that striker to hold it in place. When you pull the trigger, you're going to have that transfer bar or that trigger bar, whatever you want to call it, will actually drop. We'll engage that trigger bar or that striker to move forward and move past the aperture, which is the circular portion, and right in front of the primer that sits in front of the chamber. So all these things have to happen, but initially you have to have a cocked firearm for it to happen. So you have to load that live cartridge and put some external force on that slide to cock it.
And is cartridge synonymous with magazine?
Cartridge versus magazine, so a cartridge would seat in a magazine.
So the cartridge holds the projectiles or casings in the magazine?
Yes.
Okay. And what part of the gun is the magazine?
So it's an external piece that's inserted into a magazine well.
So a user would take the magazine, enter a cartridge which contains the bullets, and then seat it in the handle of a semi-automatic weapon? So
the person would load the ammunition inside of the magazine. The magazine will have a spring tension as well as a follower on top. That spring tension pushes that live cartridge to the top of that magazine at all times. That live cartridge is stripped by the slide or manipulated by putting that live cartridge in the chamber manually, but ultimately you do have to cock that weapon to fire it.
I'd like to direct your attention to June 30th of last year. On that date, in the evening hours, did you get called to go somewhere?
I did.
Where did you get called to go?
To a residence in North Andover.
What information did you have when you arrived?
Information I had was there was a police-involved shooting, which required a supervisor to attend the scene.
And that's why you went?
Yes.
Okay. What time did you arrive?
I don't recall exactly what time. It was in the evening hours.
Did anyone else from your unit respond?
Yes, I had a trooper, Chris Pierce, as well as trooper Andrew Valeri.
And the three of you responded from the firearms identification unit?
Yes.
And what was your purpose on scene?
We wanted to document the scene. We wanted to inventory all personnel that were involved in the shooting, whether they fired or not, to inventory their weapons, to account for all live cartridges.
And again, is that standard procedure for an officer-involved shooting?
Yes.
When you responded, who was on scene?
There was several detectives from the Essex County Detective Unit, as well as Andover police personnel.
North Andover police personnel?
North Andover, yes, Mike, sorry.
Were you directed to a particular part of the house?
I was. There was a particular part in the top of the stairs where there was a firearm located in a safe, as well as a bedroom where we recovered two discharge casing as well as a projectile.
And did you or someone from your unit or someone from the state police take photographs that evening?
Yes, we had Crime Scene Services photograph the scene.
And what is Crime Scene Services?
So they're a unit in Massachusetts State Police. So they document, they photograph the scene, they videotape the scene to preserve the scene, as well as do prints on firearms casings and so on, as well as footwear impression markings.
May I approach?
Yes.
Sir, I'm showing you 9 photographs. I just ask that you take a look at those and let me know when you're done.
While you're doing that, Counsel, Mr. Breda, will the defense be objecting to any of these?
I don't know what council has up there, Judge.
Okay, thanks. Do you, perhaps,
I thought there was an objection.
okay, perhaps when, hold on one second. Perhaps when you're done, when the witness is done, if you can show them to Mr. Bradle, and if, to the extent that you were able to mark a few, and you can object to a few, or all of them, or. Take your time, Mr. Bradle.
I understand there's no objection.
No objection.
Okay, let's have Mr. Wayne mark those individually. You said there were 9?
Exhibit 81, Somar. Exhibit 82, Somar. Exhibit 83, Somar. Exhibit 84, Somar. Exhibit 85, Somar. 86, Somar. 87, Somar. 88, Somar. 89, Somar.
Thank you.
May I publish them, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
Sir, I'm showing you first what's been marked as 81. Do you recognize that picture?
The picture dictates plaque number 3. I believe there was a discharge casing around that vicinity of plaque number 3.
Sir, what number was that again?
81.
81, thank you.
Is Exhibit 82 a different angle of that same, you were trying to photograph that same discharge cartridge casing?
It is.
Showing you Exhibit 83. What does picture 83 show?
Discharge cartridge casing with the closer-up appearance.
Has it been moved?
I believe it has been moved.
And why would it been moved?
Where it was located, it was kind of in a confined space in the corner of the room.
Showing you Exhibit 84. Do you recognize Exhibit 84?
Yes, it's where a smart projectile was recovered right above the air conditioning unit inside the curtains.
Exhibit 86.
I'm sorry, can you just give me one moment to just catch up?
Do you need the picture?
Do you mind putting that back on? Okay, thank you.
What does picture 80, Exhibit 86 show?
It's a close-up picture of plaque number 4 of that spine projectile that was recovered in the curtains.
And showing you Exhibit 87. What does Exhibit 87 show?
The projectile from plaque number 4 that was moved for a close-up photograph.
So it's taken from the air conditioning unit and moved for this photograph?
Taken from the curtain and moved on, I believe, the bed, taken a photo of it.
Showing you Exhibit 89. What does Exhibit 89 show?
It's where a projectile possibly struck. We looked at the air conditioner inside and to the rear of it. They had a hole consistent with a strike on the outside of that air conditioner. Can't determine exactly, but it appeared to be a projectile strike, and there was another hole on the exterior or the back end of that air conditioner as well.
And is that what Exhibit 88 shows?
Yes.
And did you ever find a projectile associated with this air conditioner, the one that struck the air conditioner?
I did not.
That last photo, that one there, is that 85?
88.
I'm sorry, 88? Thank you.
Detective Lieutenant, next showing you Exhibit 76. Do you recognize what's depicted in Exhibit 76?
It appears to be another discharged car's casing by placard number 1.
And is Exhibit 77 a close-up of that discharged cartridge casing?
It is.
And what did you do with the discharged cartridge casings and the spent projectile that you recovered from the scene that night?
So all pieces of evidence were documented, where they were located by placard number, the time of location, who recovered that evidence, and any particular features of that discharge casings, the head stamps or bunter marks.
So you collected the evidence and documented it, fair to
Yes.
say? And is it, in summary, fair to say that you recovered 2 discharged cartridge casing and 1 spent projectile?
Correct.
I'm sorry, I was distracted. Can you ask that question again?
Sure. In summary, is it fair to say that you recovered 2 discharged cartridge casings and 1 spent projectile that night?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Did you continue your search of that bedroom?
I did.
And what else did you recover from that bedroom?
I don't believe there was anything else from the bedroom other than the 2 discharge casing and the projectile.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes. Oh. Let's, we'll take a 5-minute recess.
All right.
Okay, you may continue, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Lieutenant, is it true that you took possession of a number of firearms the night of June 30th, 2025?
I did.
And whose firearms did you collect?
There's 2 North Andover police officers' firearms and another firearm that was recovered at the top of the stairs at the residence.
And the 2 North Andover police officers, was that Tim Houston and Patrick Noonan?
Yes.
And did you also inspect Lieutenant Daly's firearm on scene?
I did.
And what did you determine with respect to Lieutenant Daly's firearm?
He had,
Well, I'm sorry. This almost only happens in Lawrence. But the window's open over here, and, which is what we need for, because of our HVAC, but I'm having trouble hearing. Do you mind closing that? Sorry, and you're going to have to repeat those last question and answer. I didn't. Thank you. Okay. Can you repeat that?
I think so. Sir, what was your finding with respect to Lieutenant Daly's firearm?
he had 1 magazine, so he was fully loaded. There wasn't any unaccounted for rounds of ammunition.
Okay.
Wait, I'm confused, because I thought you took Officer Houston and Officer Noonan is what I wrote down, but is that?
Fair to say you took Officer Houston's firearm and Officer Noonan's firearm?
Correct.
And did you take Lieutenant Daly's firearm?
I did not.
Did you just examine the number of bullets in his magazine?
Yes,
To the meeting.
Well, she's leading because the judge was distracted by the outside noise, so, and I'll allow you to do so as well, Mr. Brady.
That's fine.
So overruled, all right, so now I understand. Thank you.
And sir, I'm next going to ask you if you recognize what's shown in Exhibit 10.
Yes, that is the firearm at the top of the stairs, as well as a magazine with numerous live cartridges in it, as well as one loose live cartridge.
Is this the loose live cartridge here?
It is.
I'd like to ask you about your major findings in this case. Based on your training and experience, did you conduct microscopic analysis with respect to the projectile and cartridge casings that were recovered from the bedroom of Phillipsbrook Road?
I did. So I test fired all three weapons and conducted a microscopic examination of the class characters as well as the individual markings that were left behind from the firing process. I was able to conclude that the weapon that was fired by Officer Noonan created the discharge casings that were recovered in the bedroom, as well as the spent projectile that was recovered above the air conditioner.
And were you able to exclude any weapons?
I was able to exclude the other firearms.
I'd like to change gears a little and talk about the weapon that was recovered from the black safe at the top of the stairs. Did you do anything with respect to that gun?
I test fired that weapon with 2 live cartridges from submitted ammunition.
And what was your conclusion?
That weapon did not fire the discharge casings as well as the projectile that was recovered.
So the gun from the black safe was also excluded from the discharge casings and the projectile that were recovered from the bedroom?
Correct.
But did the gun operate?
It did operate, yes.
Was there any problems with its operation?
There was no malfunctions.
Did you bring with you today a box?
I did.
And what is contained within that box?
I believe it was the that Glock firearm that was in question that was recovered at the top of the stairs.
Is that box packaged in the standard way that the ballistic unit packages firearms?
It is.
If you could open the box and explain what is in the what's contained within.
May I assume that someone's made sure that this is safe to begin with?
I'll do it again, Your Honor.
Okay.
All right, we have a trigger lock that was provided later. We have the firearm in question. It is safe and empty. There's nothing in the chamber. The slide is locked back to the rear. There's nothing in the magazine well. The weapon is safe and empty. Also, contents of this is you have the 2 magazines that were recovered from the vest that were downstairs on the first floor of the residence. You have the magazine that was recovered in the safe. It was originally loaded with 16 live cartridges. And you have 2 test fires that are conducted using that live ammunition from that magazine, as well as the single loose live cartridge that was recovered in the safe.
Are you going to ask more questions about that? Because I couldn't keep up. Or should I have them repeated?
No, I will ask more questions.
Okay, thank you.
But in the meantime, may the box and the contents be marked for as an exhibit?
Yeah, let's. We're gonna have to do them individually. I don't want the ammunition to be with the firearm. So let's do that, Mr. Ruane. And also, any objection if he puts, Mr. Bradel, if he puts the trigger lock on there?
No, Judge.
I don't know, are you able to even?
Object to leading either for this. I don't object to any leading for this.
I would ask that you just wait to
Sure,
put the trigger lock on, certainly before it's submitted.
sure. Thank you.
How about we do the gun in the box, and then the rest we can mark, tag individually?
Sure.
Exhibit 90 would be the firearm, Your Honor, in a box.
Yeah.
91 is a magazine, Your Honor. Is also a magazine, Your Honor.
Is it with the ammunition?
Yes.
Okay.
93 is a magazine.
93 is a magazine with ammunition.
Live round.
94 ammunition, 1 round.
Test fire.
95 test fired ammunition. 96 test fired ammunition.
The magazine that you recovered from the gun in the black safe, what was the total capacity of that magazine?
17 live cartridges.
And is that how many live cartridges that weapon can hold?
That's how many cartridges the magazine can hold. So what's called a top-off method. So you load the magazine with the 7 live cartridges, you chamber around, you take the magazine out of the magazine well, and then insert another live cartridge. So essentially the magazine will be fully loaded with 7, and then there will be 1 live cartridge in the chamber.
So you said 7, not 17.
Oh, my apologies.
No, I'm asking, that's a question. You mean 7, right? Not 17?
The magazine is 17 live cartridges capacity.
17
17.
is the capacity. Okay.
17 is the capacity for the magazine that was recovered from the black box.
Correct.
And so when you add an extra round, what's the capacity for the weapon itself?
So we'd call it 17 plus 1, so essentially 18 live cartridges.
So getting back to that, in that black box, in this, I'm showing you Exhibit 80. Exhibit 80 is the gun, the magazine, and the single live projectile that is contained within the box in front of you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you examined this firearm, how many bullets were in the magazine?
There were 16 live cartridges in the magazine.
And how many live projectiles were in the safe?
There was 1 loose round live cartridge in the safe.
And that is reflected in the 1 loose round cartridge. That's in Exhibit 94, is that correct?
Correct.
Are you familiar with the term dry fire?
I am.
What's that mean?
So you are cycling the weapon without a live cartridge in the chamber. So all the same steps are going to happen. You're going to cock that weapon. It's going to have that trigger bar or that striker be sent to the rear. It's going to be held in tension by that trigger bar. When you depress the trigger, it's going to create that trigger bar to drop. The firing pin is going to move forward through the aperture and potentially strike any live cartridge that's in the chamber.
And what happens if there's not a live cartridge in the chamber?
So you'll hear an audible click.
With the court's permission, may Detective Lieutenant demonstrate?
Any objection?
No.
Demonstrate with,
A dry fire with no projectile in the weapon at all, no projectile particularly in the chamber.
yes.
So if you could stand up and demonstrate.
Right. Again, there's nothing in the magazine well, nothing in the chamber currently. So the weapon currently is cocked. You'd move the slide forward, still in the cocked position. You still have that trigger bar, it's moved backwards. And then when you pull the trigger, you'll hear an audible click because it's releasing that striker. That striker is going to move forward and hit where the aperture where the firing pin would protrude. So you'll hear the click. And then in order to reset it, so right now you have a dead trigger, it's not going to do anything. Again, pull the trigger, audible click. And that's what you'll hear. If you have nothing, if it's halfway, you'll have a click as well. So if it's not all the way chambered, it'll click as well. So what we call it is out of battery. So the weapon is locked to the rear. You'll have the slide forward. Now the weapon is battery. So you have an enclosed live cartridge. There's nowhere for that live cartridge to go when it's fired, but out the barrel.
And I'm sorry, the term that you used, battery,
It's out of, so once the live cartridge is loaded, that weapon is now in battery. So you have the breech that is right behind that live cartridge. So when you fire that weapon, an explosion is going to happen. So you're going to have the firing pin is going to hit that primer. Primer is going to ignite the powder. Powder is going to build up gases. Projectors are going to go down simultaneously. You're going to have an explosion, which is going to cause that slide to go backwards. The extractor is in contact with that live cartridge. It's going to rip that discharge casing out. It's going to hit an ejector, which is pretty much a metal rod, and it's going to eject out this ejection port, which is right here. There's an ejector right in there. An extractor is like a little claw that's attached to that rim of that live cartridge or that discharge cartridge after firing and pulling it right out. All in one function, and then that slide is going to go forward and load the next live cartridge.
thank you.
So based on your training and experience, would you hear that click if there was a loaded magazine in the weapon but no bullet in the chamber?
Yes.
And based on your training and experience, what would happen if the gun was cocked and there was bullets in the magazine and you pulled the trigger?
If there wasn't any live cartridges in the chamber, nothing would go off. You'd hear a click, but nothing would go off.
And then how would you get a bullet to go into the chamber?
You'd have to physically, manually load that bullet or push that slide forward to load that live cartridge from the magazine.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, take your time.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Mark.
Hello, sir.
Afternoon.
Lieutenant Detective Bonasoro, do I have that right?
Detective Lieutenant Bonasoro.
Bonasoro, nice to meet you. We have never spoken before, correct?
Correct.
So, what's a head stamp on a cartridge?
It's the indicator that tells you the caliber and the manufacturer.
Was that something that you took note of for all the cartridges in this case?
Yes.
And and you can look at any of your reports if you like, or anything you need to look at, you can just let me know. Or you can just go right ahead and do it. Do you have your reports with you?
I don't have them with me now.
Okay. And let me know and I can show you. In this case, relative to the spent projectiles that you recovered and the loose round you recovered, did you check the head stamps of those?
All head stamps are recorded on all evidence, yes.
And they're on your ballistics worksheets, right?
Yes.
And if you need to look, just let me know. All the head stamps for all these cartridges were the same, right?
I believe so.
It was Hornady 9mm.
Yes.
Okay. And so, just out of an abundance of caution, I don't want you to believe so. I want you to look and just tell me. Is that all right?
Yes, that's
Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm giving you everything. And if I don't, just let me know. And I have 3 ballistics worksheets here. May I approach, Your Honor?
I'm going to show you those. Take a look. Take all the time.
And then, just so I'm clear, Mr. Bradel, the question is whether all the ammunition recovered had the same head stamp?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct,
thank
Your
you.
Honor. So with respect to, actually, I should qualify that a little more, Your Honor.
Sure.
The question was, the 2 spent projectiles and the loose round, do they all have the same head stamp?
the 2 discharge casing as well as the loose live cartridges all have the same Hornady head stamp.
And I apologize, and you just corrected me. I said spent projectiles. That's wrong, isn't it?
Correct.
So I should rephrase that, Your Honor. The 1 live round, live cartridge, and the 2 shell casings all had the same head stamp.
Correct.
Thank you. And I said that right that time, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
I'm just going to retrieve those from you.
Sure.
As a state police detective, you go to various towns and you investigate ballistics evidence, ballistics issues at various calls, right?
Yes.
And oftentimes you get there kind of well after the fact of the incident, right?
Correct.
And in this case, I know you don't exactly remember the times, but let's break it down a little bit. How long did it take you to get to the scene, if you recall?
Probably over an hour to get there. I was traveling from Maynard.
Okay, so Maynard to North Andover, and it's, was it dark out when you got there, if you can recall?
I don't recall exactly what time I got there.
Okay. It's fair to say that the scene was secured and there was there were no civilians around. It was a crime scene that was in the possession of police.
Safe to say there was a secure scene, yes.
Okay. And you saw colleagues from the state police that are assigned to the state Essex Detective Unit, right?
Correct.
And you also saw some North Andover police officers as well, correct?
Yes.
And it's fair to say that the North Andover police officers were having free reign over that scene when you were there?
I wouldn't call it free reign.
Well, nobody was keeping them out of there, right?
I believe they had a log of who was going in and out, but it's not my responsibility to keep track of who's in the scene.
Certainly not. And you oftentimes don't have personal knowledge of what goes with what cartridges from what gun, things like that.
Correct.
And you often have to rely on what people at the scene tell you.
Yes.
And then you can also, however, apply your science and figure out to a reasonable degree of ballistic certainty what the relationships of certain projectiles, cartridges, and firearms are, right?
Yes.
Okay. And in this case, you don't have any personal knowledge of the chain of custody of these various firearms, do you?
What was recorded in my notes of who I recovered these firearms from is all I can.
Well, we can start there, and we'll go through it. So you wrote a report, and again, if you want to look at this, just let me know. You wrote a report that involved 3 Glock firearms, right?
Yes.
Okay. And actually, it might be quicker, Judge, if I give him one of these, so I don't have to keep going back and forth with that.
That's fine. Let me ask, Mr. Brady, do you think that now's a good time to break for lunch? Do you think?
Sure,
And then,
that's fine, Judge, and I'll have the paperwork for him, and we can just go without having to go back and
Yeah,
forth.
maybe let's do that. So,
Thank you.
we'll stand at recess and let's start back up at 5 of,
May I resume, Your Honor?
yes, please.
Thank you. Lieutenant Detective Bonasoro, you have a copy of your report, right?
I do.
Okay. And there's other documents too. You have worksheets and other items, correct?
Correct.
So if you need anything, just let me know and we can share anything you need, okay?
Okay.
What is meant by chain of custody of an item?
Who has actual custody of that particular piece of evidence? It's moved from one location to another or one person to another.
So as a piece of evidence kind of goes through the investigative process, sometimes it can be important to make sure you know who had it, where did it go, as it goes through, right?
Correct.
And in this case, it's fair to say that you don't have personal knowledge of a lot of the chain of custody here.
I have personal knowledge of who I received the firearms from.
Right, okay. And we'll go through that. And I'm not questioning, in terms of chain of custody, you and the state police going forward from when you left the crime scene. I want to ask you some questions about chain of custody at the scene, okay? Who did you get, and again, you can refer to your report here. Item 1-1 is a Glock 47, and we'll just use the last 3 numbers of the serial number, 269. Who did you get that from?
What was the item number again?
1-1, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yep. And the last 3 digits of the serial number are 269.
Thank you.
And so that gun, and again, you can look on your papers, anything you want. Do you know who you got that from?
If I could see my notes, the
Sure.
worksheet notes
Yep.
from the crime scene.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see if I got this right. These would be the notes, right? And this is just another copy of that report.
Yes.
So 1-1, take all the time you need. Who did you get that from?
It was received from Detective Lieutenant Michael Davis.
Okay, and who's he?
He works for North Andover.
All right. And do you know whose gun that is identified to from the incident?
Based on the serial number, I was told it was Officer Noonan's weapon.
Okay. And are there some notes in that packet you have there from you that indicate that Chief Gray had that gun for a while?
Yes.
And what are the indications that, how did Chief Gray come to get Noonan's gun?
I was told that he had custody of the weapon and he unloaded the weapon at some point, and he put the live cartridge that was in the chamber back into the magazine.
Okay, so Chief Gray is manipulating Noonan's firearm. And I mean the word manipulating in the physical sense.
Yes, this is what I was told.
And then it goes to who? Lieutenant Reardon, was it?
Detective Lieutenant Michael Davis.
Davis, sorry. And then Davis gives it to you?
Yes,
And that's just what you have documented, right? You don't have any knowledge of any other people having it, right?
correct.
Presumably Noonan had it since it was his firearm at some point.
Presumably.
And, all right, so that's 1-1. And item 1-2 is a box magazine from item 1-1, correct?
Yes,
And it's got 16 cartridges in it, and the capacity is 17, right?
yes,
And so you say right in your report, from item 1-1, so it's the magazine from Noonan's gun, right?
yes,
Okay. Then 1-3 is a little different, isn't it?
yes,
You write there, one removable box magazine from, but then you didn't fill in who it's from, right?
yes. That was an error on the administrative portion of the report.
Okay. And just so we're clear, this is your report,
Correct. Yes,
okay. So it was never noted where the 1-3 is from, correct? In terms of the gun.
it was noted that it was received from Officer Michael Logan,
Right.
1-3.
So he's the chain of custody guy, but unlike 1-1 and 1-2, where you match them up, that the magazine is from 1-1, here, it doesn't say where that magazine is from, right?
Well, these were recovered at a later time. I was initially given the firearm with the magazine, and then later on, these additional magazines that were recovered from, I believe, the either the duty belt or vest carrier, whatever the officer had.
Okay. And you know, I'm just asking you about what it says. I'm not trying to suggest there's fault, and I just want to go through it with you in terms of what's identified and what's known to be from somewhere and what's not. Okay? So I'm not trying to find fault. I just want to factually have us go through the report. So we don't know where 1-3, the box magazine, is from, what device it's from, right?
I was told it was from either the vest carrier or the duty belt of Officer Noonan.
Okay. But that's not in the report, is it?
It is not.
And then same with 1-4, one removable box style magazine from, and then from is not identified, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that's the same thing. You got a magazine, and that's from Officer Logan as well. The chain of custody reference is from Logan, right?
Yes.
Okay. And again, it's not identified in the document where it comes from. Yes?
Correct. Correct.
Then 1-5 is another Glock 47. So it's just to cut to the chase. All three guns you have are Glock 47s, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's a semi-automatic firearm that was, to your understanding, issued to the North Andover Police.
Yes.
And each one obviously has its own serial number.
Correct.
But otherwise they look the same.
Yes.
Going to 1-7, you have two removable box-style magazines that you received, and the chain of custody guy is Michael Logan, but it doesn't say what firearm they were in the vicinity of or near, correct?
So as I entered the evidence, it was associated with the firearm. So as I went to the next firearm, whatever is below that firearm is associated with that firearm. So all evidence below it will be associated with the firearm until I mention another firearm.
Okay, so that's your procedure, right?
Yes.
Well, it's fair to say, though, that sometimes you do say what it's from, and sometimes you omit it, right?
Yes.
And that's by mistake, right?
Yes.
And then you have 1-9, which is another Glock 47. Last three serial number is 315, right?
Correct.
And that is associated with who?
Is Officer Kelsey
Miss Officer Fitzsimmons?
Fitzsimmons? Yes.
And then you have a box magazine 1-10, right?
Correct.
And you do write from that item in this particular instance, from
Correct.
1-9, from Miss Fitzsimmons' firearm, right?
Yes.
And then you do 2 removable box style magazines from a vest carrier on the first floor.
Yes.
And it's fair to say that after item 1.8 from Michael Logan, that's the last reference to the chain of custody person you received items from, right?
Correct.
So from 1-9 to 115, you don't reference who you got the items from, right?
Well, I physically recovered that evidence.
Okay, so you had it
Yes.
from the scene, like from the floor or the bed or wherever?
Correct.
Okay. So these are things that you recovered?
Yes.
Okay. Then we get to some discharge cartridges and a live cartridge, 1-12, 13, and 14, right?
Correct.
And they're all, as we went over, they're all head stamped the same, right?
Yes.
And then you have 115, the last item, is a spent projectile, so like a bullet, a spent bullet from above the air conditioner.
Correct.
And you recovered that yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Now, with respect to the live cartridge, the discharge cartridge at 113 and the discharge cartridge at 114, it's fair to say that you applied science, I'm going to just keep it vague for a second, that you applied some science to the 2 discharge cartridge casings, right?
I was looking for agreement of individual markings. Yes.
Right, so you used some science.
Yes.
Just to start real basic here. And you were able to identify those 2 discharge casings to item 1-1, right?
Correct.
And 1-1, you know to be Noonan's Glock, right?
Yes.
Now, it's fair to say that with respect to the live round recovered from the hallway safe, it's fair to say that you didn't apply any science to that item, correct?
Correct.
So there's no science, unlike the other 2, unlike the discharge casing in 114, the discharge casing in 113, unlike those, the live cartridge, there's no scientific basis for you to say what gun that came from, right?
Correct.
And it's fair to say that there were, and again, I'm not trying to find fault. Nobody asked you to apply any science to that item, right?
Correct.
So there were some various scientific methods that you could use to determine where that came from, right?
There would be some markings if it was actually cycled through that weapon.
Right. You're one step ahead of me. That was my next question. If that was cycled through a weapon, you would have what, breech face markings?
No, you would have what's called extractor markings, possibly ejector markings, as well as you may have magazine marks.
Okay, and just to kind of bottom line it, that means that if someone had, if that cartridge was in the chamber of Ms. Fitzsimmons' weapon, and it was made safe by cycling it out, right?
Correct.
Breech face markings or ejector markings or extractor markings would be deposited on that cartridge, right?
Possibly, but not breech face. Breech face markings is part of the firing process.
Okay, so what processes were available to figure that out?
So you could have the extractor mark, which is holding that live cartridge in place. You'd have a magazine mark if it came from the magazine, if it was loaded in the magazine, and you'd have possibly an ejector mark. But a lot of times these cycling marks don't show up due to the fact that there isn't an explosion that happened, so it's not a exact way of looking at these markings. So you're looking at a piece of ammunition that could have been cycled, but there's no definitive amount of markings there to determine that, unless there was some type of defect or whatnot.
And to figure that out, you got to look at it,
Correct.
and that didn't happen here, right?
Correct.
Nothing further.
Okay. Read you back? Okay. All right, you may step down, thank you.